Welcome, friends, to another episode of I Thought This Is What We Were Doing. Soon to be the world's #1 Captivity podcast. I hope you will enjoy today's special Halloween conversation with my good friend Dartboard. And as always, if you have any information on the whereabouts of Dart or on his 1979 abduction from Lincoln, Nebraska, please let us know.
Let's cut to the chase.
What would you like to know? What are you doing right now?
Organizing my papers. I think I'm being moved.
Emotionally?
Well, that's certainly part of it. I've been reading over the transcripts of our past episodes.
I did not realize you were having them transcribed.
Most of what we have said to each other has been redacted, so really only see our names and then a colon next to it, the name, and then just black marks. So I don't have much sense of what's been said.
How do you think the podcast is going?
May I be honest?
Of course.
I think there's one word that best sums up the work we've done here so far.
I'm listening.
Zippy. Do you have a tissue?
No? I think my house may be haunted.
It's a nice thing to say on our Halloween episode. Good for you.
There's been a howling sound coming from the lower floors. I had pest control out, but they didn't find anything.
Have you been violated?
I've had some nightmares. Are there any developments with the lawsuit?
I'll tell you off the air.
We never really talk off the air, do we?
I'll blink it to you.
Do you have a girlfriend?
You mean with me in captivity?
Are there conjugal visits or anything like that?
Not that I remember.
Any other kinds of visits?
I worry about your abs. You getting enough crunches?
Oh, yeah. I do maybe 50 a day.
That's a good per minute number. On a normal day, I do 14,000 crunches in here. I mark them on the wall.
Your abs must be amazing.
It's the best thing about this situation.
Are you dating online?
I'm only permitted to use the in-house intranet.
Do you ever swipe right?
On my captors' profiles?
Right.
It hasn't come to that.
Can you hear the ocean?
Maybe we should workshop something.
Shoot.
I'd like to set a BHAG.
Can you say that again?
I'd like to set a BHAG.
Would that be a big, hairy, audacious goal?
I would like us to commit to being the #1 Captivity podcast on iTunes this time 5 years from now. Do you believe?
I think the ghost might be the ghost of a dog. It does not sound human.
Have you tried to leave a little kibble down there?
Canis lupus spiritus would, I believe, be its scientific classification, if I'm right. The first of its kind, perhaps.
Something occurred to me during my beating last night.
Do tell.
Two concepts that one doesn't often think of together are captivity and grand ambition. And that's the low-hanging fruit for this podcast.
I feel like we're talking past each other.
Let me take about 2.5 minutes to think about that. Above all, I want you to feel heard. That's how sheep often feel.
You cut out for a second there. How do sheep often feel?
Heard.
Oh. Right. A joke. Do you
I'm
have...
listening.
Have you ever had night terrors?
Yes, yes. When I was in the Coast Guard.
What do you remember about your father?
Sorry, who?
Moving on. Tell us about your time in the Coast Guard. I think our listeners would love to hear it.
Sure. I was stationed in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was told that's where the cream of the enlisted crop is sent.
Did you find that to be true?
Well, I wanted it to be so. I had very little context. I was there alone.
You were the only Coast Guard serviceman in Lincoln?
That's right.
What were your duties?
Patrolled the local waterways. Most of them were on golf courses. Simplify.
And do you remember the day you were captured? Follow-up question. Do you consider yourself a prisoner of war?
Yes. The War on Christmas. I was captured Christmas Eve, 1979.
Do you know what year it is?
I have a guess.
I'd love to hear it.
Is it 1985?
You got it.
Well, that's reassuring.
You've kept excellent records, it sounds like. How's the food where you're staying?
I don't know if I'd call it food.
What would you call it?
Given a few tablespoons of cooking oil a day.
Your abs can thank your captor for that. Do you like Captivity?
The Wi-Fi here is excellent. That's all I'll say.
Do you have a favorite website that you frequent?
Like I said, I only use the in-house intranet. But on that, I do have a favorite site.
What is it? Don't leave us hanging. We are all very eager to hear your favorite internet website.
Intranet.
Intranet.
It's called tickletime.org. It's videos that my captors have made of them tickling me. It's nice. It's nice to relive some of those good times.
I bet. If you were able to make requests of your captors, is there anything that would make you more comfortable? In case they're listening.
Maybe some new content. It's been a while since they've updated the website.
You don't sound that grateful.
Where does gratitude come from?
You don't have an etymology dictionary down there?
Are you grateful?
It's late Middle English from... or possibly medieval Latin. There's a Latin gratus, meaning pleasing or thankful. I'm grateful for my etymology dictionary.
Do you believe in the BHAG?
Our specific BHAG? Or the BHAG in general? The concept of the BHAG. And is there a difference?
Our BHAG?
No.
We need to pull in the same direction for it to work.
What would you suggest?
Believing in the BHAG.
Okay. I believe in the BHAG.
State the BHAG.
Something about this podcast being the greatest podcast of captivity in 5 years. Do I have that right?
5 years from today, Halloween 20... Wait.
So you know what year it is. Why did you mislead us and our viewers?
Have you heard of denial?
Never.
So by Halloween 1990, 5 years from today, we will be the #1 Captivity podcast on iTunes charts. Yes?
Sure. Do you know the competition?
No.
Well, right now, a podcast named Stockholm Syndrome is #1 Captivity podcast. It's going to be tough to beat. It's about a romance between captor and captive. A homosexual romance. I listen every week. So, we're going to have to up our game, wouldn't you say?
You're saying rely on salacious tricks.
I think if we can just be ourselves, that will be enough.
We need to break our BHAG into small, actionable steps.
Should we come up with an acronym for these steps?
Yes.
How about captive? You take the first letter.
C is for catchy.
A is for and.
P is for podcast.
What do you have planned for the rest of the day?
I think I'm being moved to another location, and then after that, probably I'll give out candy.
That's nice that they let you do that.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Do you ever think of attaching an SOS message to the candy?
I'll blink that answer to you.
Once again, I can't see you, Dart. T is for team. Effort.
Well, then I I guess needs to be igneous rock.
V for victory. And on the count of 3, let's both give what I think we both know should be E. 1, 2, 3.
Effortless.
Energetic. Perfect. I think we have a plan.
Would you like me to read our mission statement acronym?
Yes, please.
And you'll write it down on your end?
Yes.
Catchy and podcast team effort igneous rock victory energetic effortless. Kind of rolls off the tongue.
I think this is our best podcast yet.
So, by talking about our plan to climb the ranks all the way to the top, we're actually creating better content.
Exactly. Final question. How do you know that you're being moved to a new location?
That's easy. After my beating last night, Tony, one of my captors, said, "Don't get too comfortable. You're being moved tomorrow. It's Halloween. We need to get you to the new location in time for trick-or-treaters."
Would you be able to identify Tony in a lineup?
I've never seen his face. And he uses some sort of voice modification device, but if other senses weren't included in the lineup, I would have a fair chance. In fact, his name, for all I know, isn't Tony. But I call him Tony because he smells so much like my Nona's rigatoni. And so if I were to smell my Nona's rigatoni in a lineup, we'd have Tony.
You still have quite the proboscis, huh?
That's right.
Well, this has been enlightening. Engaging.
You think so? Really? Because really the only thing I have in my life is the quality of this content. I think of myself as a content provider. I wake up thinking about this content and climbing the ranks on iTunes. And you're telling me this was engaging?
Your ambition is inspiring. I have to go to the store now.
Are you working on finding sponsors?
Yes.
I consider you our rainmaker.
I've got certain parties interested, mostly in the market of vegetable oils. But I'll keep working on it.
I haven't had solid food since 1979, and you should see my abs.
You could write a diet book. Perhaps we should make this a diet podcast.
I don't want to muddy my ambition. I want to keep it laser focused.
I think that's smart, Dart.
Thank you.
Call me from your new location next week. Or tomorrow.
Will do.
Okay.
God bless you.